Everybody, it is the Quantum Show Quantum Panel, depending on who shows up, if anybody. That's okay, because you never know. And when people do come in the chat, I would like to please give me a sound check. Sound check. So, yeah. And talking ufology in public, it is becoming more and more accepted that people are seeing stuff in the sky and they're not blowing it off. And it seems like we have to be led by our leaders, unfortunately, because you got Lou Elizondo, David Grush, all the people with the pictures in the mainstream. They make it from coast to coast to mainstream. And it seems to be that we have to be told, hey, these things are real. It's already been on the show, the shows. Thank you, OB2. Appreciate it. Sounds good. By the way, everyone, Rachel Andrews Flick is OB2 because she had in her username RFB. That's uh or RAF, and that's Royal Air Force. And I was like, okay, good deal. I can hear you too. I can hear you. Okay. And there's joke that the actor who plays Obi-Wan in the movies, the new movies, his brother is in the Royal Air Force, and they call him jokingly OB2 because he's not Obi-Wan. That's where that comes from, just in case anybody needs to know. And we got, okay, Rachel, you're here. Ian's here. Welcome back. Thanks for coming to the panel. If anybody shows up, it might just be me. I don't know. Raven said she'll be showing up later. Her device is charging. And Renee, thank you for coming back. Appreciate it. And yeah, I was just saying that it seems like we have to be told what is right. And talking to muggles, right? General society, the muggles, not us. We have our own experiences. Talking about the muggles. The muggles need to be told what's right. It has to be on CNN. It has to be on Good Morning America. It has to be on The View, whatever. Hey, Tim, welcome back. Thanks for coming by. Good to see you, man. And all right, now we're going with ufology in public. And I wanted to, let me just make another one. Now, I have done this as a topic before, right? So, sound check is good. So, I'm going to go with ufology in public as the banner. Thank you, Aussie. Everybody's coming back. Appreciate it. You guys make the quantum show. I'm just sitting here ranting about stuff. And thanks, Raven. Appreciate it. Everybody saying sounds good. Good. Sounds good. So, yeah, it seems like we have to be told something is a way for people to for it to be put into their minds. And that is, first of all, the fact that for years and years, it, it has been told to us that no, it's not true. You're crazy. That was a psyop. Okay. Because we are, dude called it in the chat. We are grassroots ufology, grassroots disclosure, because we already have our disclosure, don't we? We have our disclosure already. We know something's up. We might not know what specifically. I know some specifics, but there's no evidence. That's something else I covered in the first hour. I talked to a guy at the Legion. He says, well, what about the evidence? There's no evidence. And it's correct. The evidence cannot exist here because, and that's something I didn't get into, was the evidence that is not able to exist here because our materials have to obey the local laws of physics, I mean, and theirs don't. They have their own local laws of physics. They have their own way of manipulating materials and using them in ways that we don't know how to use them yet. Something I did not get to talk about. So we could, and but then again, it's a related topic because I have no personal experience. I can, however, say, where did these people learn our people? Where did our people, ancient people, learn to do all these things? And I want to talk about breakaway societies. Hey, and how I still do think Atlantis has several breakaway societies, groups. The Mayans, they figured it out and they got up and left. Probably someone came and got them. That's something else. There are, I mean, it just they picked up and left all the dig sites, and also there are pyramids all over this planet. We're still finding them in the Google radar scans. That is such a good thing to do. Why aren't these things put in the general news? I want to see pyramids found because it's ancient, it's literally ancient history. It doesn't affect the way we're doing things now. And that seems to be we're in the now type of people. If it doesn't affect us, doesn't keep me from going to work, doesn't keep me from paying my bills, we don't really care. Unfortunately, it's general society. I care. We care, but they don't care. I mean, I mean the people out there. They don't seem to care. You go to Walmart, ain't nobody thinking about that, right? You go to Target, you go to pay your bills, go to the DMV. Well, you might find somebody at the DMV. Go to the post office, you might find somebody at the post office. Mm. And this guy was talking about where's the evidence. We tried to talk about frequency, and he goes, "Oh, you mean like third dimensional thinking?" I'm like, "No, I mean the frequency, like fast." He said, "Faster in light. Do we have faster in light travel?" And we got Keith coming in. Keith, welcome back to the Quantum Show panel discussion.
Hey Nathan, how we doing?
Pretty good. Let me adjust your mic. You seem awfully loud. Let me, everybody. I got you. I got you. Let's see here. You looks like you got. Okay. Give me a sound check, please, Keith.
Hello. Check.
Okay. Sounds
1,
better.
2, 3.
Works. Thank you much. Yeah, I had a nice little encounter with someone at the Legion. By the way, Keith Andrews has his own channel. Link in the description below. As always, your link lives on my show. And go over, like, and subscribe. So I saw you earlier, Keith. You looking like you're having a good time.
Not bad. I've got my head on straight as to what I'm aiming at. Makes it a little easier.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, I had an encounter with a guy, and he was like, "I want to believe, but I need evidence." And I was telling him a lot of the evidence is debunked because we can make it. We just don't think that. And I use this as an example. I can create a stapler, but I did not. Just because I can figure out how to make a stapler, but I bought this one on Amazon. I can create this. I only created part of it. This is a robot part that I have. It's just a display thing, right? But I didn't make that tire, but I could have. I did make that white part. That's printed plastic. And it snaps into the feet of one of my droids. But I didn't make the rim, but I did make the plastic. But
see, the first question I always ask when somebody goes, I require proof.
Mm-hmm.
The first question I always look at, what do you consider proof?
Right. That's what I asked him. I said, what would be proof for you? What would be proof for you? And he really couldn't answer that question.
Most can't.
Yeah, because we can create something and say it's alien, but we're lying. We can create, but if something comes around, then we say, well, we can't create that. Another example, right? They were calling out 3D printing. This was an interesting conversation that I had with the 3D printing group. This person carved a thing out of foam, just packing foam, carved it with a hot knife, made it look cool, right? Buried it
Okay.
in sand, did it a certain way, melted some aluminum, poured it in, and it assumed that shape. Now, in the sand causes it to cool off immediately, right? And it
Okay.
hardens and it evaporates that foam. There's very little, there's residue left, and you just wipe it off of the now solid aluminum that is down there, right?
Right.
And these people who are 3D printer people with 3D printers, computers, phones, fancy monitors, things like this mouse, they said, "Oh, we don't have that level of technology." I'm like, "Actually, you do. You definitely do. We're talking,
You are
this is
so much.
thousands of years old technology." And they were saying, "Well, we don't know how to do that." I'm like, they did this. This is Bronze Age technology. You can do it. They were like, "Oh, but I don't want to do it." And I was like, "Oh my God." But anyway, what I was saying was, because we
No.
can make it, we assume we made it. But I don't think anyone made something. I don't think it's alien. I don't think it's off world. But they found metal coils in the permafrost in Russia. I don't think it's off world, but no one went up there and put them in the permafrost 10 feet down.
No, they were not buried. And contrary to some people's belief structure, they are not a hoax by God.
They're not a what?
But
What do you say?
what people are not, oh, try that again.
I didn't understand what you said.
I said they are not a hoax by God.
Right, they're not a hoax by God. Right. Okay, I didn't
No,
understand.
the fact of the matter is, though, if we go back now, I don't know the years. How long ago? Like you know this better than I would. How many thousands of years ago was ancient Greece?
Oh, I want to say that was pre-Egyptian. I want to say 8,000 years.
Okay, well that answers that question. That I'm aware of by memory, quite frankly. 50,000 years ago, we could do it easy. 8,000 years ago, the Greeks already had astrological or astronomical tools to gauge the orbits of the planets and the age of the sun. They already had the tools in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean the Greek gods, I mean the Greeks themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The Romans were so far ahead of themselves in social engineering that they created a problem for themselves. This is not the first time that man has risen to this level.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
So it's not 8,000 years ago. It's like 7,000 years ago. Less than 7,000 years ago. But still, that's the time.
704, and that's like 2,500 years ago.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Just
it was.
to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
But the length of time, let's face it, for me, time is kind of irrelevant. Okay.
Yeah.
The reality of it is, I love the way it was put in Jurassic Park. Mankind is so interested in whether they can do something, they seldom think whether they should.
Yes. And about that, capitalism drives that kind of thing, unfortunately. And that is kind of like a human language that we speak, is capitalism and trade. That's an earth language. You can go anywhere in the world, have local money, and buy something not knowing the language. You don't need to know the language. And
Absolutely.
unfortunately, that seems to be what's driving our science now.
Let's
And
try the real new thing.
right, without getting into the topic of fake science and tobacco and sugar and all those things, and that have gone on and has been proven. Money buys science. Money creates science. And as long and you know what? I disagree with a lot of the ufology scene now. General disclaimer to everyone, but that's the selling of the books, the touring, the high prices for conferences. I can't afford to go. I'm not going to afford to go to things like Contact in the Desert or the Roswell thing. I'll go to local events. I will be a local event, but I'm not going to but I do support it because it gets it out there. It keeps interest.
See,
Go ahead.
the first Roswell event that I went to was local and free.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with you regarding the issue of the books and the price of the conferences and what have you. This is why when I write a book, I literally have it at just a high enough price to be able to reorder books, and the shipping gets covered by the buyer.
Right.
It's the only way I
purchase
can
price.
operate. Yeah,
Right. The
purchase
purchase price
includes the
covers
shipping.
right. And that's good. I like to do that too. I do that as many times. If I offer a product, like if I ever make these for other people, it will be this plus the shipping. That's the price. And being that I make these and overhead costs are negligible, really. But anyway,
The fact of the matter is, what's really screwing things up, ufology today, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I've seen people actually lost some grounding because of the fact that I am very blunt about it. I do not like when somebody says, "Oh, you're asking me a question." Like you asked me a question about any one of the races. I may have to look it up. I got too many. I worked it out. I've got 123 right now that I've documented. Okay, only 60 are in the first book. But you ask me a question about them, I'll give you the answer. I will tell you I've got the book with more information, right? But I'll give you the answer. I hear so many of those of the mainline speakers that go, "Oh, buy my book; it tells you." Not going to happen in my case.
Right, and that I do really appreciate that you do that. You encompass that knowledge first, money second. I really appreciate that. And if they want,
gotta be a side effect.
Yeah, the money, yeah, you just said it. Money is a side effect, and totally, totally understand. So, on the topic of that of your races book, how's the second version coming? Second
Let me
volume.
see. Just going to double check here. That's I have filled out since the beginning of the month. Like I said, I was aiming for the end of the month. Since the first of the month, we are now on the 8th. I have almost 16 races enhanced. Okay. So I am on track to put it in your hand by the end of July. I would love to say the end of June, but I end up with way too many things going on. And every now and again, I run into that neat little snag of not being able to deal with it. But what we should have done, Nathan, and I guess technically I can if I don't scramble something, but I should get you. Oh, you've got it. You've got a number of pictures I sent to you, don't you?
Yes.
I think.
Yes. I have to look them all back up.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you got this. Storm is looking for a link for Lynn.
I sent a link over. I thought. By the way, your link for your coffee shop is in the chat. Feel free to click over there, people. Feel free to everybody. Feel free to click over there and let me get back and send another link to Lynn.
I don't know if he's just checking. I don't know if you're aware, but that's not a hot link you put in there.
It isn't?
No, it is not a hot link. It is a link, don't get me wrong, but they'll have to copy and paste that one.
Oh. Oh, I guess so, yeah. Oh, here's right. Let me do that correctly then. And of course I can't. Oh,
No,
this is such
the funny thing about it is when we look at ufology today, it has been, I mean, capitalism has been around for centuries. The only difference, the only thing with money, there's the link. The only thing you got to remember with money is it's easier to move a $10 bill than a cow. Besides that, if you don't feed the $10 bill, it won't die on you.
right.
If it does, I want to see the $10 bill, personally.
Me too. Yeah, I had a thing when I was many years ago when I was younger. All we're doing is clay pots and rice. That should be our currency. Clay pots and rice. Inflation, break some clay pots, eat some rice.
Well, there's a saying that goes, 1 billion people can't be wrong. Rice has to be reasonably good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think I put the link in correctly this time. And it is on YouTube. So can anyone confirm that a link went through?
Well, I won't debate that you think you put it in, but it's still not a hot link.
Ah.
You're welcome.
What am I doing here?
Subtlety is my strong suit.
I did put a link in there.
I don't know. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in the chat room. Oh, of course, I'm looking in StreamYard. That might be the difference.
Right. It's going to be on the YouTube page. Okay. It's correct. All right. Yeah.
That's where the problem is.
That's why I didn't go through on here because I put or on YouTube because I put it on StreamYard and then I had to go over to YouTube to put it in YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, it works.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one cold is confirming that one.
All right, let me close that, hide that comment. And Lynn is in house. Hey, Lynn.
Hi.
Man, how
welcome
we doing?
back to the Quantum Show. Thanks for coming by.
Lisa. Oh, I have my microphones on backwards. Just a second.
Okay.
Well, at least you didn't have them on inside out.
There's a way to do it backwards. I'll find it.
Put them on upside down. It's a fashion statement.
I cannot hear anything, Nathan.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah, we were not talking. Yeah, hot linking is something different. It's just we just said it. I know, nerd. It's an abuse of the technical culture. We all do it all the time. I had somebody say they had a cascade failure. I'm like, dude, this is not a starship. Stop it.
That's what I call them.
You've lived through one of those.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
What's that, Keith?
I said, well, Lynn said, you haven't lived through one of those. I said, what, starship collapse?
Between that or, just your basic cluster. We won't finish that.
Yeah. Cluster frag.
Hello, everybody in chat. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Yep. And hey, I call everybody out, Hey, Storm. Hey, nerd. Welcome. Moody Mongol. All right. I'm Cold Aussie Tiger. Let's see. There are other people here. Joseph is in the building. He's got your link is there too, Joe, if you want to come by. I'm Cold. Oh yeah, I love it when you show up, dude. And everybody is here.
Joseph will come in here as soon as he gets to his computer. Tonight's our night to hell, so he's on his way back home.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, I haven't seen a last name like that in a long time.
Yeah, really. Hi, Ian. Welcome in.
Shank.
Yeah. I used to have a teacher named Cruikshank.
I'm taking a picture.
You know,
Other
I
than the
did
back
too.
of a phone, what is it?
I did
Oh,
too.
I was taking a picture of what I'm looking at to be able to like, not get distracted.
Ah, okay. If we sit in our backyard for any length of time at night, we will see between 2 and 6 of the things every night. Every night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've got to give us credit here. We are less than 50 miles from NASA, and also from gosh, what's it called, Frank? What's it called,
McGregor
Frank?
Range.
No, the spaceport with Sir Richard.
Spaceport America.
Yeah, Spaceport America, and we're even closer to them. So, if they truly are UFOs, then you know, this is the right spot for them. I mean, we're
let me ask you this.
very close to White Sands Missile Range. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, here's the thing I always look at. Is it in the air?
Yes.
Can you identify it?
Not a chance. I
Then
can
it's a
barely
UFO.
see them.
Right.
Then it's a UFO.
I had someone report a UFO to me, and they described it. What they described was a clear body ultralight aircraft, and I looked it up. And this was local. I mean, in the 5-mile radius, right? I looked it up. There is an ultralight aircraft club right here, right down the road from here. And one of the and you can look. I looked on their website. Somebody owns a clear body fold up ultralight, and I was like, okay, you saw something. I identified it.
Well, there's a lot of it here.
Mm-hmm.
Not. It wasn't a UFO. It was a drone, right? Or a glider.
Are you talking about this person's?
Yeah,
ultralight is a. Ultralight is a.
Well, it was an ultralight aircraft, and it was.
Okay.
I can show you. I can't look up the actual one. I did look up the actual one because he lives here. He lives right here.
Mm-hmm.
But an ultralight aircraft is a very small. Well, you all know,
Yeah.
And,
lucky if it's a 2-seater.
Right. Sometimes, yeah, they make them in all. You can build one or buy them, and
I don't know if I'm that ambitious.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, I know I'm not.
No.
But this is
No,
one that is.
This
is one that is an ultralight aircraft, and you can buy it in clear. I will share the screen right now. You can buy this with a clear plastic body. That's it.
Wow.
That was it. And the whole thing is made from a sort of plastic. I forget what it's called.
Sounds
it's
like
super
plexiglass.
light. Well, it's not plexiglass. Plexiglass is heavier than what they use for ultralights. And this specific one you can get with a clear body, clear wings. She said it looked like a pod from the bottom and clear wings, right?
Yeah.
She could see like bones. She said bones of the wings. And if you look, these little slats here, those are metal parts to keep it strong, bones. I was like, I
Right.
figured it out. And
kind
the
of
tail,
to calm the metal fatigue.
right? Well, they're metal parts. The plastic was held in place by metal. So, yeah, and that's what she saw. And I was able to identify it. I was like, was this what you saw? And I showed her the dude's profile picture of him at the local airport with him showing off his cool ultralight airplane. He goes, she says, "Yeah, that was it. That was it. Oh my God." And showed him up in the air, and it was a close up high res
Yeah.
pic. So
So
she was
it's
not.
much.
Hmm,
Go ahead.
what she saw was far away. So she probably, the tail is so small you could probably not see the tail. And
Yeah.
with the sun, if the sun is a certain angle, you won't be able to see all the aspects of it. And I was like, could this have been what you saw? Oh yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah. See,
So I mean, I
most
wasn't
people
trying.
don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to debunk her or say, "Oh, you're an idiot." I was just saying,
No.
I think I've identified this thing,
The fact of the
because
matter is,
I'm. Mhm.
that's what we're supposed to do, in my opinion. If somebody
Yeah.
says
Right.
this is what I'm seeing, here's an explanation. Once you, I love the way that Spock back in Star Trek put it. And I'm paraphrasing, he turned around and said, when you eliminate all logical possibilities, whatever is left, however improbable it may seem, is the answer.
Is the
Now,
truth.
do you know where
Right.
that came from originally? Sir Arthur Conan Doyle,
I'm talking about the Spock.
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they use quite
Well,
a
let's
lot of
face it.
things like that in Star Trek.
Let's
Mhm.
face it, I'm not exactly well read.
And
Oh,
it is that's called Occam's razor.
how so?
Well, I think you should give it back to
Mhm.
Occam then.
Oh well,
Well,
no, that's not
Storm
Occam's
is
razor.
right. There is a lot of things flying around here. To the unpracticed eye, if you don't know what you're looking at, it would be creepy. It would. It would give you the screaming nightmares, imagine. And we've gotten so used to them here that we don't worry about it. It's
Yeah.
we have three major hospitals in this area. And then of course El Paso has their share. And there is always somebody being airlifted to one of them. And for stuff being in the air, no, not surprising. We sat and watched one night where a helicopter came into Mountain View, damn near face first. He came in at a near 90-degree angle and popped that thing in there just as neat as you please. I swear he parked in the lobby. Must have been from Vietnam or even Afghanistan to be
Yeah.
able to do that. But it when you got hot shots like that around, who needs UFOs? No.
White Sands. That's what I was thinking of.
Yes.
White
What's
Sands
that?
Missile Range.
McGregor is out there as well. Uh, of course, is it Cassiter Range? I can't think of how it's said right off. But this is a major thoroughfare for military, and there's always stuff. But I'll tell you one thing that I did see, and my uncle saw here just in the backyard. There was a vehicle parked over top of the city, and it covered the whole city, all of it. Literally slipped in at night. He said he watched it. He happened to catch the reflection, how it looked. He watched it slide in, park. He said he sat there for the best part of an hour watching this thing. You know,
I
it
want to
had a
ask what it looked
cloaking.
like.
He said it looked like the flat bottom of a vehicle, a big round vehicle.
Big round disc.
Yeah, he was uh Marin wasn't given to flights of fancy. not at all. Very, very. Here's the facts and nothing but the facts, and if I don't know what they are, I ain't saying more.
Yep.
And
So
he said that it had a cloaking on it. It was dark. It came in when it was dark, and the only reason he saw it was because it covered up the stars,
that's
and it
one of the
wasn't
easiest
a
ways to
cloud.
spot a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a cloud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
And things I would like to discuss now that we got you here, Keith, is okay. We've already talked about. Well, we haven't talked about a whole lot, but I want to go not in the same order as I went before, but faster than light travel. Okay, with our Aussie has reminded me. Everybody, if you are here, you're quantum, hit like and subscribe. Thank you for being here because of all the internet, of all the places, all the shows. You could be watching, you ended up here. That makes, and you followed your quantum link here, one way or another. Thank you, Aussie, for the reminder. And I wanted to talk about faster than light travel. It doesn't exist, but yet it does because you have to get around, you have to just not apply the physics that apply to the speed of light. I think that's one way of saying it. I see you
Well, it's a
have
way of saying it,
you
but
you are preparing a demonstration for us, I believe.
who is?
You are.
who is? I am.
No, I'm removing a check that the vehicle that ICBC, my insurance company, sent me.
Oh, I can prepare one then because talking about faster than light travel, ba-boom. This this can represent our space. Now we have the vehicle, right? You want to go from one point to another, and I'm going to look technical doing this with my metal ruler. And
It's
so,
an interesting vehicle.
yes, it is very. It's cylindrical. I saw it's a cylinder.
Well,
There you go.
it does keep you on the straight and narrow.
If this is space and this is the place you want to go to, either one could be point A or point B, right? Either one.
Right?
You just want to go place to place. Now, if you stay in the place where the speed of light affects you, you have to travel linearly all the way from point to point. However, talking of wormholes, now you have to travel from all the way over. You have to travel linear. Now, this is the basic idea of it, right? Folding space with a wormhole, which we don't know how to do yet. Well, maybe we do, but it's not public. You basically fold space where these 2 points touch, and instead of traveling linear, am I on their holes? Yeah. You come on. You poke a hole between the two, and you drop out from one. Right, from one to the other, and you get
just
there.
grab a restaurant plate. They're easy to punch holes with.
Right, and you just boop, and you get there, and that
makes sense, though.
that's
does.
a whole lot of context not being explained there, like how to do that. I don't know how to do it, but I think I might
Oddly,
be
you actually did
very close. I might be I might be very close to figuring it out. Cause see, I'm one of them people. I got to figure it out for myself. I can look.
I'm going to give you a key that's going to make no sense.
Go ahead.
Forget you don't know how to do it.
That right there. Forget I don't know how to do it, and then you just do it. I know it makes no sense.
That one concept, Keith, is one of the linchpins of doing a thing in this particular time frame. You know, I was never trained to be a office manager or a of that genre. Okay, never trained for it, had no idea of it, never done it before, and still walked in and owned it. I remembered how. I
I have
remembered how
another.
to do it.
I have another few examples of forgetting you know how to do it and doing the quantum thing, right? Where you just do it. I have a couple of examples, and these are so simple examples. I had just gotten back to Tennessee, and I pulled up and I went through the gate. It's one of those where you lift the thing up and it unlatches, right? And you pull it out of it, and then when you push it back, it goes
Just
back,
Yeah,
bends
right?
itself. Yeah, sure.
Well,
gravity
here's
well.
the thing. I saw it and I said, I know how this works. This is how this works. This is how it's going to work. It worked, right? It just worked. And then when I got
You
in,
realize never had seen it before, right?
no, it was broken. It has never worked. It only worked for me that one time the way it's supposed to work.
You didn't
It
know
had
it was
never
broken.
worked. Yeah, that's
That was a fun way
me.
to do it.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
had never worked. It was put on wrong, and then it wasn't screwed down correctly, so
uh-huh.
it never. I'm the only one to have ever made that work. That's one example. Another example is okay. Right now I've got a little bit of a shadow, but I shave. Right, I shave,
A
and
lot of people do.
right, a lot of guys shave. So I went and I had to. Now I this is a weird little thing for me, but whatever. I shave in the shower because it's easier that way. I don't get it, it helps me do that way. So I just do. Well, I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. And I put a new blade on and I started shaving and I shaved, but it felt like it was a it was like a dull razor, but it worked. But it worked. I went through and it worked. I had put the razor on backwards. It shouldn't have worked at all. At all.
No,
But it
no,
worked. I was a teenager when
no.
that happened. It
Well,
shouldn't
the
have worked.
reality, I've done that so many times with cars because I don't understand cars,
Mhm.
right? And I pulled into a gas station one day, and I asked the guy. I asked the because I had a slow leak in my tire. So I asked the guy. I says, I says, can you can you take care of the leak? He took the tire off, went to repair it, no problem. I said, why you got it off? There's something wrong with my brakes. Would you mind checking them? So he takes the cap off. He takes the cover off the brakes and he stops, he looks at me and goes, you stopped. I says, well, yeah, I stopped. He says, how? I said, short little square pedal to the left and long narrow one. I said, you depress it, kind of stops the car. He goes, that only works if you've got brakes. I said, what? I'm down to the wire. He goes, no. No brake shoes, no calipers, no discs, no pads, no assembly.
Oh,
Right?
gee.
He says, I've got to check your back brakes. Didn't have any on those either.
My God.
He goes, how did you stop? I said, I didn't know they weren't there. Therefore, depress the brake pedal. It works.
Yep, that is
And I'm told
manifestation.
you're right. You're absolutely right, and you're on the right track there. It's not just manifesting, it's knowing that you are in control.
Right.
And
Exactly.
what you say goes. That's a good bit of manifesting.
This is
Mhm.
why.
And
One of Storm's favorite stories, and I'm going to tell it because he's
He's shy.
reluctant. He is. He's quite shy, and I don't know why. He's one of the most gregarious people I know.
That's why.
But Well, anyway, the story. He was working in a call center. The computers went down. Nobody told him. He was on a call. He finished the order for the individual that was making it, and he realized that he was surrounded. Every person in the center watched him run a computer that had no server. The
Whoa.
servers had completely collapsed. They were not working. There was no electricity.
Yeah,
And
but
yet
somebody
he
forgot to bring
still
Storm
did
up
it.
to bring up to speed.
Yeah, the storm doesn't give a damn about that sort of thing. Never has. But he has that ability, and it doesn't matter what it is with a computer. He's got it. You know, I've seen the cars. I've seen him do stuff like Keith is just describing, and doggone, he's good at it. you know. But we're coming into that age. We are going to be able to do more than any other generation.
So many people, I'm going to add to that right now. So many people are realizing that, and they're starting to use it little by little. But then there are still those people that if something happens to where they can't explain it, it literally will break them, and they go into they can't handle it.
Panic.
They either deny it
Yeah.
or they just change their whole mind and accept schizophrenia.
Yeah,
And you know what? You can do that
it's
too.
not.
You can accept it if you want it. You will be manifesting that for yourself. I
Yeah.
recommend you don't do that, right? I recommend you say, huh, this is interesting. Maybe I can use this in the future. But right now, I got to work, I got to drive, I got to cook, I got to clean, whatever, right? But don't let it break you. All that
Life
stuff,
No.
must take precedence.
You
right?
know, I began manifesting back before I ever knew what it was. And uh, it's been little things here and there. It was not a big package dropped in my lap, I assure you. It was a little bit of knowledge here, a little article there, a little thought process from another place too. And before I knew it, I was manifesting. One of the first things that I realized that I had a hand in, I say a hand because I really think of it as divine intervention, but had my sister and my brother-in-law and their two children were living with us. We had our own child, and they were between homes. They had just gotten out of the service, and we basically had nowhere to go, and no one to come home to. And the heck they don't. They came home to me. And my husband had just gone on strike, and it was promising to be a long one. And I was at the bottom of my freezer. I had not prepared for this to happen. I didn't think it was going to, and I let it slide. Hey, I had 4 more mouths to feed than I was anticipating. Every day I would go to that freezer and I would look at that. I said, please God, I got 7 people to feed here. Let me come up with something. Reach in, didn't look, reached in, grabbed something, brought it out, and that was for supper. We called them magic meals because boy were they. On the
So
day
you
that
do
they found
realize
their, I'm sorry.
you go down that road, and that's child's play from that end. I mean, let's
Let
face
me finish my story. The folks were able to get their own home. They moved on, and the day that they cleared out, the freezer was empty, and my ex got a call and said, "Come on back to work." And talk about synchronicity. I'm trying, but
Easy for you to think.
no, it's not. That's the problem. But you were saying child's play, Keith. What did you mean?
Well, manifesting that much food for 7 people,
Yeah.
let's face it, it's relatively child's play if you look at the way the manifestation has worked in the past.
Well, how 7 loaves and what, 4 fishes?
2
How does
fish.
that go?
It was 2
2
fish and
fish
5
and
loaves.
7 loaves. 5 loaves. There you
5
go.
loaves.
Yeah. And that's what he was doing, was manifesting.
Yeah.
And I promise you, nobody was putting any food in that freezer. There wasn't anything to get. That it was empty, and they stayed with us for about 4 months. It was empty when they came. So, it's weird. And Joseph is reminding me about vacuum sweepers. Vacuum sweepers and I are anathema now. I think
Well,
that's
let's
how you
face
say
it.
it.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Lynn. Correct me if I'm wrong. You do run a coven, right?
Do I run a coven? I do not. I am part of one.
You're part of one. But you guys are modern. Now, in the old days, it was brooms. In the modern times, you use vacuum cleaners.
Well, Lynn,
you need a
I kind of
transportation.
have to explain to the audience what that means. My son needed a vacuum sweeper. He had none, and I had no way to go buy him another one, or buy him one in the first place, I should say. And I got my hoodoo out and started powwowing, and hey, I need a vacuum sweeper. I was not specific. I did not have a sweeper in mind. I just let it out there. Get a vacuum sweeper. Before I knew what happened, I had they started coming in. Big sweepers, small sweepers, expensive sweepers, some of them weren't, But all these damn sweepers showed up at my house, about 50 of them. I'm not kidding. It was at least 50. And I couldn't get it shut off. It was worse than the Sorcerer's Apprentice. And
I was just thinking Sorcerer's
Apprentice. And it started to, it began to be obnoxious. They were showing up at my doggone back door. And I mean, from nowhere. I mean, it's not like I went out and said, I need all these damn vacuums. I did not. And finally, I'm like, oh my God, what do I do to stop this? I'm going to be swimming in these things before I'm done. But it took me 2 years to unload all those things. I gave them away. I did not sell them. I gave them away because we believe that freely got is freely given, But I'm telling you what, every member of the family had one. Not just him, but everybody. Every other neighbors. You need a vacuum sweeper? Saw somebody move in next door. Do you need a vacuum sweeper? I got a vacuum sweeper. No, I don't want any money. Just take it. Take it.
Yep.
That yeah, it got crazy. But I have learned if you deliberately manifest something, have a deliberate plan for it too. You know, make sure you know exactly
here's the
what you
thing.
want.
This is what people don't realize about the whole thing of ufology. Humans are working with, I think, 128 elements. Okay. The off-worlders, I've seen a periodic table of elements with 250. And by the way, light is not the fastest element. It's not the fastest particle.
But
You also have to realize some of these races have manifestation capabilities that far exceed our manifestation abilities that we represent on movies.
Are they able to use 0-point energy like we do?
That's the funny part. Humans have that capacity. It's the one thing they can't control. However, there are races that will use direct and very true magic.
Ah, all right.
Someone.
Yeah.
Go ahead. The whole concept.
The whole concept brought about by Star Trek Next Generation of Q. They are real. I know that sounds weird, but they are real. They're not as twisted as he is, but you get the idea.
I would hope not.
Right.
He was a sick puppy from what I remember.
Right. Putting humanity on trial for its crimes. That was like, it's not even fair, but it was a great story. But Keith, someone brought up a question that I was like, I need to ask you that. Abductions. Do other species in other worlds get abducted as humans do?
That's an interesting concept.
The answer is yes. Humans are not the only ones that suffer from abductions. Okay, every race has their own version of it. It's just the Zeta Reticulans are the ones that are doing the hybridization successfully. There are races that do gene splicing. Okay, kind of like the Frankenstein monster, where you take bits and pieces, put them together, reanimate. Okay, but virtually every race that is interstellar has a science department that does what we qualify as abductions. Okay, but understand, the humans, when they go and collect up tigers, fish, birds, they collect them, take fluid samples, tag them, and put them back out. Humans are abducting lesser species. Okay.
Exactly. And I'm Cold is saying the little gray guys, and are those? These guys, right? Right, but there are more than just the Zeta Reticulans that are the grays.
There are
more than
that I know of. I think there's 15 races that I've seen. Yeah.
Right.
You got the species, which is reticulans. I am currently, and this is one of the adjustments I'm making to the 2 Race of the Worlds, the second edition, is I'll have a list of the different in the Zeta Reticulans. I am adding a list of the different species I know of the different races I know of. Okay, but they all have a specific purpose.
Right.
So do you have any idea what that might be?
Well, your Zeta Reticulan are your scientists. Okay, your Beta Reticulan are your agriculturalists. And I believe, and I've got it listed in my paperwork that I'm in the middle of translating, or transposing rather. You got Zeta, Beta, Reta. You've got your Veda Reticulans. You don't want to tangle with them. Your Veda Reticulans are literally your military. And if they come in, this isn't going to be a fight. It's kind of, if the Veda Reticulans were to come in like people keep talking about, oh, we're getting set for an alien invasion. Okay, picture an ant's nest. They're getting ready for a human invasion. Human comes along with gasoline and a lighter. Fight's over. They can prepare all they want. You know, but
so far they don't have a reason to do that.
They have no reason. As a matter of fact, they've got a reason not to do it. See, humans are, where it comes to the abduction side of it, humans are, they are literally the easiest race to work with the hybridization program, and they are the easiest to repair. And the answer to that question, I see Rachel's just asked if we're talking gray healers. Yes, there are gray healers as well. Not as good as the Pleiadians, but they are qualified.
Yeah. And the guy was asking me in the other part of the show, do aliens abduct other aliens in other places?
Absolutely.
So basically, it's yes. Depending on need,
yes,
depending
across
on
the board.
Right. I mean, it's not limited to humans. And well, I have to go back to the dude at the bar. Where's the evidence? It cannot exist here. It cannot exist here.
Well, it'd be a little hard to show evidence of the, and to show evidence on this planet of the Zeron abducting a Kamalian.
Right.
First of all, the Zerons aren't on Earth yet. Okay. Second of all, the Kamalians aren't exactly known for being out in public, so you can watch the abduction happen. At least not that I've heard report of.
Right. So, and I'm okay. Now, bear with me. I'm going to draw this question out a little bit. Do aliens, when they are here, do they get abducted by others, by other off-worlders, or are they
more
all
like kidnapped and
like,
ransomed?
Okay, so that does.
Oh yeah, because there have been cases where a research team will come down. Okay, and they're just coming in for soil samples or what have you. Right. Another race will come in, pick up the research team, and bugger off with it. And then you get the fun thing about, about this idea, well, what about ransom? Sorry, when you're picking up dinner, you don't give it back.
Right. So the idea of ransom
really
is the
don't
same.
approach things like we do at all.
No.
Ransom is a primitive manipulative technique.
Okay, right. So once somebody like that's gone, it's sayonara, huh?
Most of the time, yes.
Oh boy.
I have heard of cases where they abducted the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll use the term person a little loosely.
What do they do? Go, oops, he's so sorry.
No, they abducted the wrong person. He blew up their ship.
Gee, that's too bad.
Oh, definitely the wrong person.
Somebody like Storm, you mean? Essentially, with a whole lot less congeniality.
Okay, Keith, I have another.
Storm does things with a lot of humor.
I have another. It's a related question for you, Keith. And I've thought about this. Are some people humans, right? Are some humans slotted for? Is there like a categorization system where some says these humans, you can abduct these guys, but here's a list of people we do not want you to abduct. And do they have a list like that? Do they have categories of people like that, or is it a free-for-all?
Here's where we run into a problem. The list you're talking now, first and foremost, let's understand if you're asking, are you referring to Do humans have some list that you can't touch these guys? And some agreement that
No.
says they're out?
Do
You
they?
talking amongst
Not humans.
the
I'm talking
Dakhour.
amongst the off-worlders. Right. Do they have
Amongst
like
them,
a plan?
each
Yeah.
of them have a group. It's like, we're looking for this. For instance, if as a species, they are looking into blood type AB negative, you don't touch blood type O. You're not looking for the research, leave them alone. Okay. But are there any people, as in John Doe, do not touch him, he's left alone? No. One species may say, leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember, all of the abductions are done. You got to remember, each of the races that I'm aware of in the consortium, all of them, when they go to do research, they've got a specific plan in mind. Humans look at the abductions and go, it's random. It's never random.
Right. Just like when oceanic researchers go into the ocean to get samples from a certain kind of whale, they're looking for a certain kind of whale or dolphin. They're not going to bother the other.
They're not going to mess with sharks or dolphins or snails, for that matter.
Let's say a sperm whale. They're looking for specifically that type, right? Now,
exactly.
Here's a good follow-up for that question. And okay, now say these oceanic researchers are looking for sperm whales, and they're doing, let's use blood types, right? They're using, and by the way, there are different blood types in the animal kingdom. Just putting it out there. You can Google it. You can put it out.
Oh yeah.
You can look it up yourself.
It's not a real well-known fact, but yeah, it is. It's true.
Right. It's just, that's ufology. And so if these guys are out for sperm whales, let's say they find one. They find a sperm whale, and they're doing a specific blood type test. However, they see that this whale has already been tagged by a similar team doing tests. They will say, "Oh, not this one. We already have the data from this one." And yeah, cut it loose.
This is presuming
I have
the same species found him.
Right. The same oceanic research people, right? Just at a different time, right? So they're going to go, oh, well, tagged within the past, I think they do it every 3 years or something. I looked it up a long time ago.
So
and
do they actually tag people? That might be a good question.
Absolutely.
That's a good question.
The Dakhour Paranormal is what the Greys use to both take a 3-point take of your system while implanting a tracker. Okay, the Dakhour Paranormal is the tool. You've seen the marks on people, the triangles where there's 3 dots and the line across the bottom.
Right.
That is the telltale mark of a Dakhour Paranormal of the Zeta Reticulans.
Okay, so is there any particular spot that this particular implement's done? Or instrument, rather?
Normally, they'll put it someplace out of the way. In a joint where it can be, in a joint or in a skin fold where it won't be readily noticed.
Back of the neck, perhaps?
Back of the neck, under the arm, like Nancy's showing, behind the ear. You know, there's a number of places that you can put it where it doesn't readily show up.
I've got 2, and they've been with me since I was a kid, and they've never done anything on their own, and you can feel them back there, right?
Well, if you don't mind a little discomfort, Storm can remove them for you.
I don't mind. I was in the military. I don't mind a little discomfort. I can hang with it. Well,
A
if I ever
little
get back that
discomfort's
ways,
a
I
whole
will.
lot less than a whole bunch, huh?
That's
Right.
when dark really claps.
So yeah. So okay. Well, let's drive it back because I have a follow up question because um here's the thing, right? I think I have had an abduction experience, but I don't talk about it because I don't remember, and I don't. It was like a dream, so I want to
That's
get that looked
normal.
at. But
That's really how it works, too.
right,
Just like
however,
a dream. You can't hardly
are
believe
there
that it happened.
right? Is there a group of now? I'm talking humans, okay? Is there a group of humans or many groups that are just off limits to abductions by the
Negative.
Federation?
Negative.
Okay.
There are
But
people
there
that are
are the
off limits. There are people that are off limits for replacement. Okay, as in there are stations in life that the consortium says you don't go there. You wanna work amongst the humans on Earth? Go ahead. You do not take a position of power, as in a
okay.
government. You don't take a government like a government leader. You don't take a member of royalty, which is government leader. You do not become the leader of a corporation. You know,
Right. Well, right. I'm talking. I
well,
understand
that's
that. I
why.
understand that, and everybody here understands that. That message is full and clear. But I want to say because okay, here's the thing. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and just instead of being so generic and general, uh, me in particular. Okay. Now I have come to believe I was in Atlantis at one time. I don't know when. I don't know why. Has yet to be seen. But you know what? Too much has happened for me to say it didn't happen, right? Too much has happened. That's my crystal that ever all y'all are on the network. And too much has happened like that. And I've had too many insights. Would I or any of us be more unlikely to be abducted? Or if we do get abducted, are we treated differently because of who we are, how we reincarnated,
You will be
etc.
treated differently depending on how you respond. As far as is anybody, even yourself or people like you, are you off limits for abduction? No. That's
Okay.
just a flat out no. But depending on how you react, will determine how they react.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good answer. Thank
Oh,
you.
I can certainly appreciate that. You know.
This is why they
Right.
bring the Gadesting with. This is why the Zeta Reticulans bring the Gadesting with them. Because, well, let's face it. Take somebody like Storm or like Joseph, right? Can you picture if they go ballistic? How much prayer does the Zeta Reticulan have of slowing him down?
Not much. Either one of them.
That's how I
You
like to
know,
think of me. I like to think that. I like to
I
think I'm in that category too. I like to think I am because I have been able to manifest and do things and do all the crazy, the crystal stuff, all of
yeah.
it, and
And
like
I
look
would have
beyond.
included you with that.
I
I
would
you
hope that
absolutely include you in
when
that because you are a force in your own right.
know, the neat part about it is how you behave. Like if you're relaxed when you get there, they won't strap you down. You know,
No, I
they
wasn't.
won't lock you up. If you're violent, they respond accordingly. But there is
right,
no
just
group on Earth. Well, there's no group anywhere that's off limits.
okay. That was my main question.
Well,
So it's all in like
I'm puzzled by this a little bit, and perhaps you can make this cohesive a little bit. the consortium will not allow the planet to be overrun. Is that correct?
This is correct.
But they're allowed to
dominant-
sneak one or two of us here and there.
Absolutely.
There's bound to be somebody out there who gets more ambitious.
There are. But there's a neat little trade-off here. Number one, the ruling is more literally the dominant surface-dwelling, technologically advanced race on the planet is the caretaker. The consortium will not remove them, will not permit them to be taken out, like as in a war. However, individuals will certainly be taken out. But here's where it gets to be pretty black and white. Humans go, don't break this law, or we'll lock you up. The consortium goes, you try taking that planet from these people, we will blow up your home planet and the planet that has your primary, secondary, and tertiary governments on it. Okay.
Well, that's pretty
This
final.
is the guarantee that the government on that planet, that species, does not turn around and do this.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Thank you for bringing that to the front. I wanted to make sure
Thanks for answering my
of the
question.
use of the word tertiary. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Love that word. I was hoping you were going to use it.
Let's make sure that everyone understands what tertiary means.
Right.
That's
you
easy
have
part.
primary. You have secondary. Right. Go ahead.
Primary
go ahead,
is that's the seat of the main government. Your secondary is the seat of the secondary government in case the primary gets compromised. Your tertiary is third string.
Your local government
is what?
It's third string. They are the third. Right. They're the third backup. Well, technically the second backup.
Second backup.
Human
Right. They're
culture,
the ones there.
that would be the governors and mayors. Is that correct?
Right. You have president, and then you have the senates. And
we're talking about replacements for the president.
Right.
And bear in mind,
right. Exactly. Right. If you do a comparison,
the member races are global government. So we're talking about taking, let's say they had their primary UN was on planet one. They have a secondary UN, a complete one, over on this other star system. And they have a third government set to fall into place. They're kept informed. They get copies of all decisions from the first in case there is a problem. So continuity of government stays put. Problem is
that's about the same. That's about the same what was talking about our president compromised and all the people below him to the next level of Congress, Senate. They're compromised. Then it goes down to the local level, and it's determined there. So it's basically what she was talking about.
Well, we have a number of comments and questions about the topic, and
right.
It's just like Renee Andrews is saying that she feels close to the Palladians, and then Bronklander is saying he feels like the Greys are, to him, like the geneticists might be to chimpanzees. I think that's pretty good analogy.
He's actually not that far off the beaten path.
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify, this is a misconception, okay, of what I'm told. That's why I popped it up a little while ago. I'm cold saying, I can tell you positive entities won't abduct you. Define positive, okay? It's not positive entity. It's going to be, what do they need to do this, right? Positive and
Yeah.
negative, good and
What's the
evil are
motivation
matter.
as to whether it's positive or negative?
Yeah.
Right. It's a matter of perspective.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Our morality, our culture, our way of doing things, we have got to begin to realize that the outside worlds, and I say worlds, not us, worlds as in other planets, this outside people do not have our morality. They do not have our culture. They do not have our system of right, wrong, or indifference. They don't even have our facial expressions, folks. They are entirely different.
I'm going to have to
And
correct
we,
something
Right.
here.
all right,
I'm Cold's made a comment in the room that has to be clarified. I'm Cold has gone, they have an agenda. Abducting you only benefits them. That is only true in some of their cases. Okay, the Greys, the reason for their abductions is hybridization, to grow cultural interpreters. That is to benefit mankind and the other races. It's that simple. Now,
Right.
granted,
And you know what? I could throw in on that. Go ahead, Keith. Finish it.
I mean, granted, you take the Techland, don't have them abduct you because they're inviting you to dinner and you're the main course. So
yeah,
this
it's
is not
probably
your
a good
benefit
idea.
at all.
Right now, you said they are creating hybrids in order for communication. Is that what you said?
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
I have my own pet theory. That the real reason we're working with so many AIs, I addressed a little bit of AI in the beginning, is because I think it's not to run factories, to do this, to do that for us. It's so we have an intermediary to talk to others that they are not threatened by, because we are a threat, y'all. Okay. We are a threat to them, but it's not how you think. It's not because we have planes and boats and rockets and weapons. That's not the threat. The threat is
We
we
have
can
this.
manipulate them. We can manifest them into non-existence if we really wanted to. That is how we threaten them. However, we still need to get along. And the people who run the AIs know this. The people who said, make me an AI to go talk to these guys, they did it in Star Wars. In Star Wars, what they do is they send droids ahead to the people that they need to make contact with. And they say, hey, but in Star Wars, it's kind of like a Old West scenario, like say,
Well, it's
it
they
isn't
send protocol droids, and that is a very good explanation of them. You know, this is this from one machine to another, and I'm assuming that our machine would be talking to one of theirs. You know that,
hmm
hey, this is how this culture reacts and acts. What is your response? Can we
right.
be social with one
And
another?
right, and more to that is that the AIs are not, they don't have our gut feelings, they don't have our manifestation abilities, and they also don't have our fear to where they're gonna be scared of them. They're gonna go, "Oh, this is another being like the beings that sent us." They don't
You
differentiate us and them. Go ahead.
you've overstated the use of the AI. The AI is absolutely for communication, but an AI, even on Earth, an AI is a program. It is designed.
Right.
You see, the off-world computers, linking up to them with ours is like linking up to an IBM or an Apple with an abacus.
Right. I
The
understand
AI,
that. I understand
Yeah.
that. But
the AI is a
see now,
translator
we can't
for the computer to get data. not to make
Precisely.
contact.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't figure that out, but we send our Abacus AI out. That's a great name for an Abacus AI. We send ours out, and they say, "Huh, this is a primitive communication device. Let's see if we can adapt to it." And I think that's what could happen. That they will
Bingo.
figure out how to adapt to us, where we cannot figure out how to adapt to them. We're doing our best. We're sending up our Abacus made of stone and rock, and they're sending us back stone and rock, but information on how to do other, like the movie Contact.
I'm not
That's
familiar
just
with
it.
that one.
That's the Udina. And the Udina are, I mean, the way they did that in Contact was absolutely brilliant. Those people are some of the nicest people you ever meet. And yes, they do. What they showed there, though, was a two-dimensional writing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we kind of have a two-pronger question and statement here. One from Bronklander, I would say that's first, and then Cliff
Yeah,
C.
let's go ahead and bring that one.
And let's just run with that, huh?
Okay. Well, you know what? Let me pause for a second because me and Amy are out of ufology juice, so we need to get some more. Ufology.
We'll sing to you. We'll sing to
That
you.
is going to be, you know what?
Let's all
Here's
go
what-
to the lobby.
Yeah. I like that. I love the way he did that.
That's going to be. I'll be right back. Watch for ghosts.
Okay.
Yeah, I listen to that. That brings back a lot of memories.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm you know, I can remember driving movies and stuff like that. Of course.
Yeah.
We're gonna say hi to our audience. Hello, Samantha. Hi, Aussie. Hello, Cliff C. Bronklander, of course. I'm Cold. Renee. Rachel. Raven. Hi, Raven. Of course, Joseph Lawrence, and he'll be here shortly, guys. Raven McMinn. Hi, Raven. Let's see. Oh, Edgar, I missed you. Pancake Alley, yes, sir. Zach, hi, Zach. Tim, Nerd's Nerd. Let's see. Storm, of course. Ian Crushank. Moody Mongo. I think we're getting there.
I think that's most of them.
Think it is. Don't want to miss anybody.
You did
Yep,
catch
we
Timothy,
got everybody.
did you not?
Pardon me?
I said you did catch Timothy, did you not?
I did. We'll say hi to Tim again now. It's one of our buddies. Baby. Yeah, it's been a very, very hot week here. It's been in the hundreds every day. It is so hot that going out in the sunlight will burn your skin inside 5 minutes.
See, that means you can go out on the front of your lawn, or on the sidewalk, put the pan down and crack the eggs, and you got breakfast.
Yes, you can actually.
Which by me means don't go outside in bare feet.
No, I made that mistake one day. Dog got loose and I chased after her, and I did not realize that I was getting burned. I'm kind of stoic against that, if you might say. And I got back to the house with the pooch and had second-degree burns all over the bottom of my feet. That was not
By the way,
fun.
that's not fun.
No, I didn't enjoy it at all. Did you get coffee?
I sure did.
Did you bring some?
So,
did you bring some for the rest of us?
Everybody's got coffee. Okay, so I didn't mean to take
I
off like
would
that,
like
but
tea though. Storm. Mav tea. Thank you.
that's an idea for some merch. Ufology juice. There's one.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the topic. um, we have Bronklanders up here. I
Yeah.
feel like we have hundreds of thousands of human alien hybrids walking around among us without human souls. So when all the ships arrive, they can be incarnated all at once. First, I'd like to break apart that suggestion, right? Hundreds of thousands of human alien hybrids walking among us. Yes, definitely. I've seen them. I they're all over the place. We are just calling it. It's an aberration of the species. It's a trait. It's just the way he was born. That's what we call it. That and I
Yeah.
can say that for sure. Okay, I have that experience. I can't quote anything for you because there's nothing to quote. But yes, without souls, souls are not human or alien, or souls are energy. They don't. This is merely a container for the soul, right? There is no human. Right, you're right. In one way, you're right. They don't have human souls because none of the souls are human in the first place. They're souls. It's a different thing, right?
It's a life
Every
force.
being
Life
on
force.
Earth, right? Every being on the earth contains water, but it's not human water or bear water or dog water. That's its best analogy as I can put it, right? Or carbon. It's not
Yeah.
human carbon or ape carbon. It's carbon. So, do they have without human souls? Yes, but with some context that needs to be there. Okay, now the next one. So
In a
when all the ships
nutshell,
arrive,
yeah.
go ahead.
First of all, we gotta, I want to point out one little detail. Number one, the soul you're referring to, every entity in existence that has a modicum of intelligence, not necessarily human intelligence, has a soul. Every one of them does. And when you come back,
Right.
when you reincarnate, you may not come back as human. But this issue of when all the ships arrive, understand half of the races that are out there don't have ships. They don't require them.
Physical ships.
Ships are something that mankind requires, and some corporeals do. But this is an issue of, when we take a look at that, when the ships arrive, they can all be incarnated all at once. Not going to happen. That is not the way their outlook works.
Right. It is that part right there is a misconception. Okay, that is. I don't know. I would like to know where you get this idea from, or if it's your idea, because I believe you have misconstrued a few facts and come to the wrong conclusion or followed a wrong conclusion. Not saying no, you're wrong. Just saying we think you may be mistaken here because of what he was saying.
Might need some more consideration. Now there was a second comment right after
Right,
by let me see, by Cliff C. Yes. Do aliens have to abide by consortium privacy law like the HIPAA Privacy Act, and would explain how they live among us without public knowledge?
Well, my holdup is I've got no idea what the HIPAA Privacy Act is. I can extrapolate.
HIPAA is
Go ahead,
HIPAA
Nathan.
is medical records privacy and personal information privacy. When you sign up for an account somewhere, you say, I do not want my information shared. If you go to the hospital or a clinic or something, they're not allowed to show your medical records. That's HIPAA. That's what that is.
Yeah, and it's only healthcare though. It's not across the board. I think a lot of
Okay, well,
people
yeah,
even
that's
assume in the United States that it's across the board. It most certainly is not.
no, it is not.
It's
It's medical.
only about
It's the medical
your
industry.
health problems.
The
It's
short
the medical
answer,
industry.
the short answer is anybody coming down here has to has to adhere to local law. It's just that simple. They are not above local law. Okay. But the consortium law is a whole lot different than human.
Oh yeah.
Right, but I think what
Because
what he's asking
So
is
when he's in, when
why
these
do they
people,
not disclose themselves?
well, let me ask you this. Take a Caucasian person, put him in the middle of a black-dominated slum, and ask yourself, if the guy had the option, would he go in there looking like he was white? You know,
well,
you
drop
take
him in
somebody,
the Bronx and just see how he fares. He's not going to.
yeah,
Or in
you
Cleveland,
take
for that
somebody
matter.
that's 7'6". Somebody 5'6" gets intimidated by that height. What
Right.
happens when you have a reptilian armed to the teeth walking around that is 8.5 feet tall? This is not going to end well
Or a mantis,
for anybody.
right? Or a mantis
For
person.
them or for us. I mean, I don't know how powerful one person like that is, but I would reckon that if he feels confident enough to stroll through downtown, he's either stupid or he's damn well powerful.
Well, let's
Okay,
take a look specifically at the Sazosians. 7.5 to 8.5 feet tall. They prefer melee weapons. But bear in mind, you take a gun, take a standard ready-made off-the-shelf pistol. Okay, your 9mm, it will bounce off their weakest part of their hide. Now, in
Not
human
real
terms,
encouraging.
in human terms, people carried around a mace in the Middle Ages, about 2 to 3 pounds of metal on the end of a stick. Sazosians pack around a mace that is spiked the size of a medicine ball.
Does it weigh like a medicine ball does? Or is it heavier?
No, it's solid steel. Well, solid metal.
talking like 11, 12 inches, right?
Yeah.
11, 12 inches. So a lot of people don't know what a medicine ball is, but go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, it's about the size of your chest.
All right, let me clarify. Is there a consortium law saying you stay hidden and don't disclose yourselves to the humans when you go there?
Ultimately, yes. What it is do not disrupt the natural evolution of the dominant race of humans in this case. You do not go in and go, because they know full well if they show up en masse, mankind society will collapse overnight. This is happening on other planets. This is why they put the law in place. Humans have been raised for centuries to believe that mankind is alone. We are built in the image of God. Every other race has the same belief. But mankind is still fear-based and primitive. You all of a sudden go, oh, by the way, everything you were taught is wrong. Society will collapse in panic.
Right. Now, that is a society. We're not talking about groups like ours because we've had our disclosures, right? We're not talking about grassroots.
Yeah.
We're talking about the American people,
No,
the South
you're
American
talking
people,
about
European.
them coming out in public and making it aware. You do
that.
If it becomes public.
But isn't that
Let me
what
tell
we've
you,
been
if
talking about? You know, and seriously, isn't it what we've been talking about? We have talked back and forth for several weeks now about the idea of disclosure and why would they not disclose And here we are. This is why not.
Yes.
Yeah, because if someone came down in front of me and I saw them in a public place, what I would do personally, me, is I would take them inside and I'd say, "Hey, you can't do this. This is me.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you, but I want to talk to you. Let's get some coffee or or but don't do this. Don't do this. You're going to cause panic." And so, come on.
Take this as a
And
compliment. You're weird.
I could tell you what would happen in my case, and I'm just being honest about it. The asphalt would roll up behind me. You know, I am going away fast.
Yeah. Now this is one. Now I'm talking about the people the ones that look like us or our breakaway civilizations. They come back. We'll get into that another time. I don't think we have time
Yeah,
tonight,
but I think you mean a human seeming person, right?
right, a human seeming, but wearing an invisibility cloak or wearing weird armor or clothing
Well,
or
how are
stuff
you
like that.
gonna know it's him? For all I know, if we're downtown Hollywood, how the hell are you gonna know?
If well, that's a good question. That's a good question. Okay, how would I know? Uh, First, I have to determine that this person is not from here, right? And then, like,
Yeah.
I have a good example for that. The person at my local grocery store, they
Yeah.
walk around in public. They are close to 7 foot. This person presents as a woman. She's close to 7 foot tall, super skinny, walking around buying groceries at Kroger. Okay.
Okay,
Now,
there you are. That person more than likely is an alien. But do you have
you know what?
an energy feeling from them?
Yes. And it was do not disturb. That's how I
Yeah,
knew that feeling
and I
when I went
understand.
to Indiana. Yeah, that's how it was like, do not bother me. Do not like I'm not you're not interested in me. It's like you do
Yeah.
not these are not the droids you're looking for type of stuff.
Yeah.
It was like that, except it was a blanket of do not I recognize it. I felt it at the time. I didn't know what it was, but you know what it came across? Oh, staring is rude. Don't stare. That's what I felt. So I just like, oh,
Yes.
go along my merry way. They're being them, and they weren't doing anything, right? But
Huh.
then supposed to come down and say, "Hey, I'm here to experience the world of Earth. Come on." Uh, and I positively
Here
identify
I
them,
am.
right?
Aren't you thrilled? Right?
Right. I would say, "Yo, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on." And
No, like
if it's a human seeming one,
yeah.
right? But anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to rant, but you get my
No, I
perspective.
get it
That's my
now. Okay, because I was kind of ranting too. Is like here we are. We're kind of saying yeah, but no. And I'm sorry, but I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of girl. You know. And it bothers me on one score with things like this is firstly we really don't have any blanket way of reacting to an outlander. We just don't.
We have there is a story, The Green Children. There is a story, and this isn't I don't have it linked or anything. I will put it in the description afterwards. But there's a story where this boy and girl, brother and sister, showed up in this village in like the 1300s in Europe somewhere, and they learned English or they learned the local language.
I'm thinking it was Scotland.
Maybe, but they learned the local language and they talked to the people and they said that they were from under. They were from under and they were green skin, like Vulcan green or like, like green, green. And they went and they adapted to this environment that they were in. They lost their green color. The boy child didn't make it. He didn't survive. He passed away. And I don't know why nobody kept any records other than this was like the priest was in charge. So they recorded that.
Probably no, she
I
was
can't remember.
stoned to death or burned at the stake. Really. Particularly
Right.
at that time.
Hold on a second.
But yeah.
I'm looking at the comments here,
Okay.
and let's just we're winding down. Well, we got a lot of comments. We've been ranting, so let's see here. I'm gonna go through some comments. Okay, going in chronological order, right? Here we go. And we've got Joe coming in. Hey, Joe, welcome.
Hi, Joe.
We're in the comment section now.
Joe, long time no see.
Oh, I don't believe that's true.
Measure in nanoseconds, it adds up.
Okay, if we count by nanoseconds, yes, I imagine so. But
So, been watching the show, listening in, or are you just getting home, Joe?
I'm just getting home, and I was paying attention to traffic.
Okay.
Good
Well,
time.
we've been talking. Yeah, good idea. Don't hear when you're driving. But we've been talking basically ufology. This topic never gets old because I had a encounter with a person, a muggle, who wanted evidence. And I'm like, well, I don't have any evidence for you because you're not going to take my personal stories into account. However, and this is not the Black Ops stuff where we haven't talked about that. I don't really want to talk about that, but want to talk about like the evidence was discounted because either we can make it or somebody on Earth can make it. So they must have made it. Well, that's not like, and I use the example of I can make a stapler, but I didn't make this one. I bought this one from someone else who has better ability to make it. Right. And I made this part, but I didn't make the wheel inside. I bought the wheel inside, but I did make that. That's 3D printed. It's one of the robot feet wheels. So that was what I told the dude about the evidence. And oh man, I'm not going to review the whole show. You're just going to have to catch up later.
Oh, I don't know. I had my
going
own evidence the other day.
Right. We had the other day. What happened the other day?
I went into Walmart, and there was this rather handsome black guy who could have played as a Vulcan or a Romulan without having any makeup. His ears were pointed. He'd look at me and he said, "What unit were you with off-world?"
Oh boy.
Boy, that'd get your attention.
I didn't say anything. I just looked at him and smiled. But
Yeah.
Keith, this is a good run-in for you right now. Do you recognize that description? Looks like a Romulan Vulcan with the pointed ears.
Yeah,
Dark skin.
can be. They're not an off-worlder, though. I'm not saying he wasn't on the ship. Can be.
What was the name?
Cambi. Kambi. They are an alpha race. Now, they have made contact with off-worlders. Specifically, they have made contact with the Moldavians, who do have starships. So he could quite conceivably have been serving on a ship in today's world. But the Cambi themselves...
Because he
outed me in public.
He outed you.
Are the Cambi one of the are the Canby a race that are knowledgeable of off-worlders, other than
Absolutely.
what
They've
we think of
known
them?
about them longer than
So
humans have known about them.
okay, so the Canby could possibly be recruited by someone else, just because they don't fall under the blanket of protection humanity does, right?
Yeah, but well, here's the thing: you'd have to, if you're an off-worlder, the Moldakians could not abduct a Canby. Well, some they could, but that's a bad idea. Understand, Canby have access to literally utilizing true magic. Okay. Now you don't want
Okay.
a hostile Canby cutting loose with literally an implosion inside your starship's main drive. This is just not going to work well.
No. I have a question
Okay.
for Joe though. Dude, with him asking about your background, did you engage him any further, or did you get away from him?
No, I just smiled and left.
Probably a good idea.
Not bad.
Yeah. I don't think he had an NDA, but you do.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, best to
And,
get away with it. Away from it.
This issue that Brocklander
I-
brought up. He mentioned he doesn't have that this is not a big enough venue for him. Quite literally, just because I was looking for a topic coming up anyway, not for this week, but for a week or two down the road. This whole thing about souls, I will deal with, but I'll cover it over the course of a week, not over the course of a day, or over the course of a couple hours.
Have you
I
spoken
want to suggest
about?
Bronkliner. Go ahead, Joe.
Try that again.
Have you spoken about what a lot of the scientists are thinking about now, that our whole universe is actually intelligent and is a soul in itself?
I have not. We have not talked about that yet. I was going to do a show on that, but go ahead.
Yeah. Myself,
Go ahead,
I don't
Keith.
know what the scientists are up to, so.
All
Or
right,
more to
well,
the point,
but,
I haven't-
This
Let
is
me.
not something I'm familiar with either.
Okay, I am familiar with it. Past. I haven't looked too deep into it yet, but let me reply to Bronklander. I don't think he means YouTube. I think he means like the Quantum Show. I'm not an interviewer. I don't really interview people too often. It's us. That's it. It's us. And when I do interview people, it's been us. But I think he means like talk to Dave Scott of Spaced Out Radio, and he may want to bring you on at some point in some capacity. I don't know. I don't know how he runs his stuff in the background. And I can tell you one thing: he won't pay you to be on. So if that's what you're looking for, don't go there. But I do give Dave Scott, a ring, or send him an email, because this is he loves these topics. He loves them. Okay. But needs a bigger platform, limited space. Yeah, that's us, the limited space. We're the grassroots. Dave Scott's not so grassroots. He's mainstream. He is on what does he keep saying? Terrestrial radio and a couple of different radio stations in Canada.
Yeah.
So I suggest you
yeah.
go there. And let's see, yeah. So I mean, yeah. Not that we can't comprehend it, but he wants to get his idea out there. We can comprehend it. That's for sure. We may not agree, but we can definitely comprehend it. And I want to go back, or not go back, but keep
Before
looking.
I would get into any of that, I would really have to research it and have an opinion. I don't have the research to have an opinion.
Right. But we could comprehend it. We need a frame of
absolutely.
reference. We need context. We don't go off the rails like in that direction. We go off the rails, but it's normally something, funny, food, or, oh, look at what I printed, or,
Yeah,
funny robots or something. It's not,
it's
um,
for us in particular. These are morality questions quite often,
right.
or
Yeah.
ethics, and they're what is trying to happen here is, and I pointed this out earlier, that we're trying to assign human concept and morality to offlanders that simply don't have the same ideas.
It does not work.
No,
It does
Gene
not.
Roddenberry pointed this
Um,
way back when Star Trek first came out. There's
right.
no
Right.
reference point between them.
right.
Okay. Now I want to bring up this comment from I'm Cold. There's a story of reptilians during the Vietnam War, and the bullets would bounce off their skin. So, um, I've heard those stories too. I don't know,
I have
Keith.
I heard about them.
Has anybody that are you aware or familiar with any of these, or who would that be, and what would they be doing here?
The odd thing
Couple
is the
possibilities.
M16 bullets would bounce off of them,
The which?
but the 30 caliber bullets from the AK-47
Yeah.
have a little more weight and mass, and yeah, that would
Yeah, if you hit
injure
the
'em.
weaker points, by the sounds of it, if you're looking at reptilians that the bullets bounce from, you're probably dealing with young Strazazians or young Strazazians, Kamalians, or Tormenon. Now, the Tormenon are the more likely, simply because they're all descended from the same race. They are the most likely to be involved in the war because they are mercenaries through and through. You pay them what they want, they will go. They won't take a command position.
Okay. Are they under the same rules and guidelines that the Federation, that the consortium puts under?
They can't
Because that
take
sounds
a
like a
command.
catch-22. Right. That sounds like a
Well, that's
catch-22 to me. Don't interfere, but
But
they
yeah,
have a specific agenda,
okay.
right?
Don't interfere, meaning they cannot take a control position. You want to go in and get yourself shot by humans, but they were supposed to keep themselves concealed. Now, it's a little hard to conceal a reptilian face, especially with some of them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but the reality of it is, are they still subject to consortium law? Certainly. You cannot take a position of power. Right. Now, the
Cannot
funny thing
upset
with
the development.
yes. Now, here's the kicker with the Kamalian, or with the Tormenon. Tormenon goes down, joins up with one side or the other. Fight's going on fine. You've decided you're going down to join in this war because you want a little bit of fun. No problem. Except the consortium turns around and says, if the tide is starting to go that direction, swap sides, balance it out. If you kill a dozen of the allies, kill a dozen of the Axis.
Right. Right. One side or the other. Axis allies. That's a World War II thing. Most everybody knows
That's a
about
World
that.
War II thing. But
yeah.
if you're going to kill these guys, kill the other guys.
Right.
Have all you'll kill everybody you want.
Okay.
It'll blend in.
Right. Okay. I'm going. Oh, we got more people coming in. Woo Riders has showed up. Hey, Woo. And I was not ignoring anyone. I was just looking at going through the chat, addressing things, because we're at 2 and we can stop any moment now. But I just want to. Okay. I'm looking at Bronk's comment. I will not be bringing that up there, but okay. He is not. He has a perspective. He just does things differently. Okay. I am not. We are not friends. However, me and Dave Scott, we don't know each other. I don't think I'm banned or anything, but he's not banned either, but he's not here. So I do have a respect for him because he does his job well. He gets people out there. He does the interviews. He does the spreading of information. Now, there are points that I have bones to pick with him, but I'm not going to do it because he ain't here, right? So apparently,
No, it's
Franklander.
hard to talk about somebody's behind their back.
Yeah, he's not a fan. Okay, I get it. I'm not a super fan, but I do respect what he does, and I'm glad, and I can see that he does it well, right? And he's using human methods to do it, and he does it well. So there you go. No. You don't have to go.
No,
We're not taking it wrong.
no,
I mean,
they're criticizing you. No.
you don't have to. You don't have to go. We can criticize, but I'm not going to be name calling and stuff like that. I'm a moron in that case, you know. But no, don't go. And I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying, hey, you know, that's what we're. It's not what we're talking about anyway. And but there are other platforms and other shows.
I remember somewhere in the 50s there was a science fiction movie, and the people that landed were the morons.
Oh, well, yeah.
What?
There was a science fiction movie, and the people that landed were the morons.
Yes. They weren't all that. They were really, pardon the phrase, but really dorky looking individuals.
Yeah.
But they weren't stupid.
Oh, I said dorky looking. I didn't say they were stupid.
Hey, I got a question for you, Keith. Since we're bringing up movies and stuff, I got a question for you. Would the Coneheads have been obeying consortium law by? Have you seen any of the Coneheads movies or shows?
I avoided them because I didn't like the look of them.
Oh, okay. Well, they mixed among humans, but they had very. You say the looks. Would they have been observing or breaking consortium law? Because they didn't take any leadership roles. They did integrate, and they called themselves insurance salesmen from France.
As long as they did not reveal that they were literally off-worlders, okay, then essentially if they were just doing their job and making an excuse for the way they looked, then no.
Okay, then
as
they
long
were
as they held to it.
They were obeying consortium law. Understood. So that's I don't know why that came to me. But yeah, oh yeah, we were talking about movies and
sort of rather different. I mean, in big way different. But but you know, I kind of in the back of my mind, I have thought about this and how I hesitate to say anything about what people look like or outlanders, simply because human beings are judgmental. Very
extremely.
And
yeah,
I mean, it's like forgive the term, a witch hunt. And you get some odd folks. Yeah, really. Some folks that are, the old lady that lives out in the woods and does her own thing, her own way with 100 cats. Sorry, Raven. And it's
I don't think Raven lives out in the woods.
And a raccoon.
And a raccoon.
And possum, loves them all. And yeah, she's different, but she's not other person.
Yeah.
She's not otherworld.
I mean, I will put it this way with Brocklander. I do agree with you. A lot of what he was saying is with him, a lot of what he's saying is being misunderstood. I find it fascinating his take on it. But does it make Do I understand it right off the bat where he's coming from? No, but it would be fascinating to find out where he's coming from.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, Raven.
Okay, thanks, Raven. I appreciate not getting cursed here. Anyway.
Yeah,
Oh no,
so
she's
y'all-
laughing while she's saying up the curse.
Yeah, probably.
Remember, she's laughing doing the ringing the hands thing.
That's half of the fun. It's a ha ha ha, you know. I mean, it's not you know, absolutely got to do it, but you know, that's half of the perks of it.
Okay, Keith, I want to ask another. It's kind of a related question to the abduction of particular people. Have they ever abducted someone and said, "Oh man, we should not have we should not have gotten this guy. This is the wrong guy.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
just put it back." Do you know of any in
Oh, yeah.
particular, or any stories of any not names, but anyone? Go ahead.
I know of a couple where they picked them up, and it's like, you know, the lead of the lead, if you will, abductor, the lead of the crew, takes a look at him and goes, "You picked up the wrong one. We wanted the one next to him. This one doesn't have the information at all that we're looking for. And besides that, he's the wrong species."
Okay.
You know, usually that happens because the abduction crew is a rookie crew out trying to grab somebody.
So they have screw-ups up there too, huh?
Oh, Lord.
They also have organic AIs.
They do. But the problem is the only true AIs that are out there, you don't want coming here because of one little detail. They will solve every problem without any emotional interaction.
Okay.
Humans are a virus on the planet.
Right. Okay.
Ultimately, yes.
This is the
Probably.
point I've been. Go ahead, Keith. Go ahead. Finish it up.
This is where the conversation with the Zeron is coming. Because the Zeron are a mechlinoid race, intent on wiping out organics across the board. They're a little short-sighted because they use organic evolution as a template to make their own evolution. Wipe out the organics, and they no longer have that evolution.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we're working on helping them out there.
Right.
With the
That leads me into something I've been wanting. Now we don't have a whole lot of time right now, but this could be the next show. When you started doing your videos, you had just started doing your videos, and one of the main points that you had was the things being seen in the sky around the sun and the sun observation and
Yes.
the deletions and everything. Something is on its way. They don't know what it is, and they could you go? You remember what I'm talking about, right, Keith?
Oh yeah, it was way back. I discovered it way back when BBS's and the news groups were online. Okay. In a nutshell, that was the lead ships, the lead consortium ships that knew the Zeron were coming, but didn't know when they were getting here. So they dropped into the area to keep an eye on it.
All right. So
now, what I didn't know at the time was they had come into that location because that put them right on the planet with the Vulcans. Vulcans are not pointy-eared, nor are they green-skinned. Okay. But Vulcan itself, and NASA knows about it. Okay. Vulcan itself is inside the sun's photosphere.
all right. NASA knows about it, you said?
I stumbled across, I've got the ephemeris of Vulcan grabbed off of a site linked to the NASA site. Do not ask me how I found it. Number one, it was like 20 years ago.
Just fortuitous.
Yeah.
Right.
LA, do you?
Go ahead.
LA, do you remember a couple of years ago us looking at spaceweather.com
Yes.
and seeing the Starship Enterprise?
Yes. Yes. And that's not an exaggeration, folks. I mean, we sat there and we looked at it and I said, I'll be damned. Because there it was, and it was like, holy
It was
crap.
huge.
It was. It had to be huge for us to pick it up like that.
Well, Mercury was just a little tiny ball below it, and it was as wide and
Yeah. And I'm sure it was a matter of perspective, but it still, we should not have been able to see that. And the things that were feeding off of the sun. There was small ship like uh, things that were basically getting a gassed
yeah,
up.
you could
You
see a
know?
tornado. You could see a
Yeah.
tornadic thing
You're
underneath them.
talking. You're talking scoop the scoop tanks. They were refueling from the plasma.
Yes.
Yes, that's normal.
Right. And that's something that Stargate Universe did that. Stargate, all this stuff has been put out in pop culture. Stargate Universe had that. These
But
giant
we weren't
city
looking in
ships.
pop culture.
Right.
No.
We were looking at
Well, you were
Solo.
looking in real life.
This was a
Right.
real time event.
Right. Well, somebody saw that and said, I can use that in a TV show.
Baby, but
The
we
neat
were
little thing.
watching this.
Traveler actually came out with it before Stargate did.
Who did?
Traveler.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, somebody
RPG.
saw it. Right. The game.
This,
Somebody heard about it and they said, I can incorporate this into my story too. Though
this
I don't
was
know
a-
where.
This was a NASA site, real time site,
Spaceweather.com.
and we
Yeah,
were there
we're talking
for
a real thing.
I don't know,
Yeah.
15 minutes, Joe, maybe
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes watching this thing, and then suddenly it went down. Nothing.
That camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technical difficulties, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And we looked at each other and said, I think we just saw the sight of a lifetime.
Yeah. But no, I remember the event quite nicely. I didn't actually see that particular video. Of course, the reality is I don't watch TV or the news.
Okay, and you know what? Something else I want to say. So, what do you think?
None of that came through.
I couldn't.
I know. That's what NASA does. I'm about to disclose.
We need to get a lip reader.
And you
in
didn't
here.
hear nothing.
No.
See? That's
need
what
a
NASA
lip
does. They have their finger on the button, right? Of the
Yeah.
mute
Right.
button.
Well, at least you know you're being listened to.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was doing the silly little example, but
Yeah.
but you get it. When somebody comes out, they what do they call it? People are seeing that's what I'm doing. I did that on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
sound. Yep.
We've had it happen here before where they've knocked us off.
Shadow banning. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Samantha gets it because we're all quantum here.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting it. That's how it is. Because when I come out with something, you're not going to hear a word of it. They don't want you to hear it. Okay, I'll leave that bit alone, but y'all get it. Yeah, exactly like that.
Joseph, you need to talk.
Do you know what that means? It means talk, but nobody's hearing you.
Right.
Oh, I realize that. That is the original version of Talk to the Hand. You know, that's why this one works so well. You know, when somebody's whining a lot, you just do this.
Oh my. Just put you
Like-
too close to the computer there, Keith. That'll shut things down.
Yeah, well, it does that too. I have to watch that.
Yeah.
I got
Okay,
kicked out
well.
of the day. I said, you know, it seems to. It's like, what do you mean seems? Yeah.
You know, Nathan, when you get excited, same thing happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that too. And it's some really cool stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, y'all, guess what? It's way over 2 hours. That's the Quantum Show. That's the Quantum Panel. Keith, Joe, Lynn, thank you for coming on with us tonight. It's always great to have you. Raven, we were waiting on you, but that's okay.
Waiting on her what?
To be here. She's gonna be here. And
You're trying to get him in trouble there, Joseph.
yeah. Thank you, Aussie. And thanks everybody. Woo Rider, Samantha, Aussie, Destic, everyone, Raven
Lander.
in the chat, Bronklander. Good points, Bronklander. And no, don't run away, dude. I mean,
I would like to say, Bronklander, if you're still listening, we value what you have to say. You have excellent insight.
Yes, and we don't want to. We're not alienating anyone around here.
No.
We're embracing
not.
everyone.
Well, I would actually like to have a
Just trying
conversation
not to-
with him in depth and find out what the heck he's looking at.
Yeah, I would like to
Because
know.
I think he is very much on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Like, we're wrapping it up. This has been a great show. Ufology never gets old, never dries up. The only thing that dries up is the ufology juice, because I drink a whole pot of coffee doing these tonight's shows. So, good night to
And
all.
I
We
was-
had 3 today, so
I was given a cherry Dr. Pepper for this show.
Awesome.
how's
That
that
sounds like
last?
a really good incentive.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Y'all have a good night. If you're here, you're Quantum. Thank you for coming. Hit like and subscribe. And I'm going to go ahead and start pushing buttons. So I'm
Take
going to
care
push
of
these
yourselves,
buttons.
folks.
Thanks
You
everybody. Have a
put
good
fun
night.
work in time, Nathan. Have a good one.
Have a good Sunday. Don't hang up. Thanks. Out of here. Keeping it quantum.